So that was in 96, right? It's not written, but if I remember correctly, it was in 96.
Yeah, I think this is 96. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, David. So thanks very much again, mate, for coming on at this, late afternoon for you, and it's very early morning for me.
Yeah.
But
thanks for having me. Now I remember fondly this picture. It's my first White Dwarf, and it's actually like when I'm seeing it from now again, I can totally tell you the mood I was when it was 96. I was like 12 years old or something like that. I was 12 years old, and I have very fond memories of this one for sure.
Cool, mate. So yeah, it's a great issue to start off with. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So in our inside cover, we've got some Tyranids versus Space Wolves. It looks like on one side, and we've got some Savage Orcs versus some Empire down below.
Very nice setup, and I mean, as a kid, you could imagine that you were dreaming about having this miniature painted this standard, but at this time, it was not the case for me for sure.
Yeah. Me too, mate. Don't worry. Me too.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's have a look. We've got here in the editorial section. Now it looks like Thomas Pyronen has just joined the team from Finland. So
with long hair, long hair, curly hair.
Looks like some kind of rocker from some kind of death metal band.
Finnish heavy metal for sure.
Yeah, Finnish heavy metal band or something like that. But I think, and that's, most of the guys had long hair. I had long hair at that stage. I think everybody, fashion wise, it was just the thing to do for guys to have long hair, to grow your hair long.
Yeah.
So it's something that everybody did, I think, back in those days. It was funny.
I was more. Now, if you look at the guy on the, without spoiling, on the right page already, Jack of Lemix, I was more this kind of haircut.
Yeah.
Like this bowl, Yeah.
Yeah, the bowl cut was the thing back then too. We were talking
Classic.
about the 90s. Yeah. But it looks like we're looking at Jake's Mark of Chaos article later, where he goes over his pretty extensive conversions on his Chaos Marine Army for 40k.
So this article for me, there was like the highlight of this White Dwarf. Basically, I mean, we're going to come back to it as you said, but this was like for me mind blowing. So I'm looking forward to talk about it more in detail.
Yeah, it looks like he spent to recreate his army. Looks like you'll spend hundreds of pounds getting all those classic Jezgudun Chaos champions, that kind of thing. Nowadays,
you must have had some employee prices for the miniatures for sure, because
yeah,
looks expensive.
Good discounts back in those days. You get 50% off when you're a staff member. So yeah, he did pretty well. So also we're looking at some pretty amazing terrain making with Chris Maple. So he does some incredible terrain and that kind of thing. As we'll see later on, we've got some Games Day and Golden Demon coverage, which is pretty awesome. And it's like Necromunda is still a pretty influential system this time, with some Scavvies and like pit slaves and that kind of thing. So that'd be quite cool to see.
Yeah. Necromunda was also like a big part of when I started the miniatures. It was at this time actually, and the first gang I had was the Scavvies. So you see, this is setting up the scene for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like the Scavvies because they're kind of like undead in Necromunda.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. They have zombies, and you have a guy that is kind of a necromancer also. Yeah.
Yep. No, pretty cool models actually, and it looks like Chaos, the Codex for Chaos is coming out in the next month, so they're warming up for that one. Okay, let's go to the next page and let's have a look here. Yep, so we've got Necromunda from the depths below. So it looks like as we said, the Scavvies are getting some releases here, some Ratskins releases too, and we've got a Tillian tournament in Italy, it looks like. Jervis Johnson attended this event, and looks like it's been a great, successful tournament. Let's see what's next. What's next?
I was about to say about those horses that are not so popular nowadays in this Hero Hammer era because they are a bit, I don't know, the proportions are a bit funny, but I actually really like them. When I'm seeing them again, I really like them. They're not as classic, but they have something like they're very dynamic, and the silhouette is actually very nice.
Advertising. It was Space Hulk. Did you ever play this edition of Space Hulk? This is the second edition?
No, I haven't played. It's one of the games I haven't played. I've played most of the Games Workshop games around, since a long time, but this one I've never played it. So I've played Space Crusade, but Space Hulk I have never tried, and I would really like to try because I really like the aesthetic of it, and the theme of it is actually very nice.
I'm pretty curious about second edition actually, because I saw it in a playthrough on Guerrilla Games recently. He did like a second edition playthrough of one of the missions. It looks pretty good. I played third edition, and it doesn't seem like a massive departure from third edition. It's just got different heavy flamer rules. From what I've seen is that you can flame individual squares rather than entire rooms.
Oh yeah,
being the most controversial one. And I think the other one they changed was maybe the sustained rules for that as well. So yeah, but I like the look of it. Like the board the tiles themselves look really colorful, and I like that aspect to it. And
but if I'm not mistaken, isn't it this box that they got the Terminator in plastic for the first time with the torso that could be twisting? Yeah,
that's right.
They were actually very nice, also. Yeah.
Yeah, I like them. Yeah, I really like them. Even Ash from Guerrilla Games, he still uses them for his second edition army.
They're actually very cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they look excellent. A lot of people didn't really like them, but I think they look really good. And now these Imperial Stormtroopers, I've got to say, and I'd actually forgotten about these guys because you don't really see them very often.
No.
You know, whether they be in sales posts or whatever, but they seem to be one of those Imperial Guard units that were lost in time. So I don't know what kind of special rules they had or whatever in the game, but they didn't seem like a popular choice for some reason.
But if I'm not mistaken, they also released a plastic monopause version of this guy. Yeah. Right. Maybe they are talking about it later in the article, or is it maybe a previous or like an issue later? But yeah, they had a plastic. I remember like a small sprue with one guy. Yeah.
They seem to be like some kind of spec ops kind of unit. Yeah, they're like
they are
a unit of 10 guys, and they sort of can infiltrate and do other things maybe, or they can deploy in a special way. I'm not sure, but that's what they seem to me like, some kind of SAS type unit.
As a kid, I really liked them. I don't know, they were having like a different vibe. You know, that your Katachan and like jungle soldiers, they are more like, even though the base is Goblin green, of course, they are more like you could see them in a city or somewhere. You know, like.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. Now you say there's a plastic set. I think actually they probably did. I don't know why, because it seems like an odd choice. If they are like some kind of specialized unit that you can only have 10 of, it seems weird they had a plastic set of those guys. But yeah, I think actually you might be right, they did. So it looks like Rick Priestley and Ian Pickstock go through the rules for using these guys.
That's also a neat illustration. I guess it must be from Mark Gibbons, but it looks cool. This one.
This one would be.
I don't know.
A Des Handley one, I think.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I was checking for the sign if it was hidden somewhere. Exactly, against some orc commandos. That's exactly the scene. You could see them. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like they've got some special rules and this kind of thing. Maybe you get to roll for them before the game, and they get these special kind of rules for them. A bit like Mad Boys, but for Imperial Guard kind of thing.
There is some stats also for some this hotshot last gun and last pistol. So there's special stuff in there.
Power packs, that's right, because they've got these power packs on the back of them. So
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So if you have any experience with these guys playing them in your battles, please let us know. Now, Warhammer Quest. Warhammer Quest. Did you ever play Warhammer Quest at all, David?
Okay, I lied. I also never played Warhammer Quest, actually. No. Okay, Space Hulk Warhammer Quest, yeah. I haven't played this one neither.
Yeah, it was such a long time ago. I did try it once very briefly, but yeah, I would love to go back and try it again. And
There is actually a very nice. I got introduced to Warhammer Quest because of this diorama that Mike McVeigh have made of it. I think it's in an issue around this White Dwarf. I can't remember, but I had it also, and the diorama was amazing. Like several levels of a dungeon, you could say, and it was like blowing my mind also.
awesome. Forest Dragon, big fan.
Yes, big fan. This miniature also, I mean, I really like it. It's something exactly like from the time I started, and it's something very iconic. I had my dear neighbor had a wood elf army, and of course, I mean, I remember that he painted it quite well. If I see it now, I think it's a different story, but it was impressive. It was the first miniature I've seen this big, so I guess it has to do with that also.
It's funny because I remember actually having this model and having it in bits and pieces, painting it. I don't think I ever finished it. I don't think I ever assembled it or anything like that. I just had it in bits and pieces and had it all pinned and everything, of course, but I had it all in separate pieces and I was painting it. I don't know what the hell happened to it. I don't know why I had it. It's one of those weird ones, but I don't even know if I've actually finished it. So yeah, it's lost to the to time and my loss of memory, I think. So I don't know what happened to it. Maybe someone's got it now. Maybe I sold it or whatever. I have no idea. But I enjoyed painting it because I love the head of the dragon. I think the head of the dragon's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
There is a funny thing going on underneath one of the feet of the dragon. You can see like he's kind of grabbing into the like some logs or something. I always felt like that was funny. And of course, it was a question of for the model to be stable because if I'm not mistaken, it was quite a few pieces. Even the feet was by itself. So
Yep, insane amount of pieces. But yeah, it's one of the classic dragons. I really like this model a lot. And of course, the sort of the leaf shaped scales on the dragon as well really fit the whole.
Oh, beautiful.
But yeah, very nice model. Okay, now Dragonfire using dragons. Maybe this is about using dragons in your games of Warhammer, using their breath attacks and scaly skin and all that kind of thing. So Rick and Nigel go through all that together, and they talk about the forest dragon, the green fuming breath. Okay.
Yep.
Too good. So, and it's against Prince Emmerich. So that'd be quite a good battle. And some Chaos Dwarves. All right. So now this other one, this Watchstones of Sapphire. Is this some kind of... Okay, now this is an Australian edition too of this White Dwarf. So it looks like they had these various different campaigns running across the stores in various countries. So this is one where you go and play. It looks like it's Dark Elves versus High Elves.
As you say, the one I had was the French version, and I can see already some things that were actually a bit different than my memories. I mean, most of it is the same, but yeah, it was localized also in France, and you had some special articles, I guess, pulled out with Games Workshop France, yeah. So, but I remember this specific image though. So because I remember that I was watching it quite closely. So that must have been also in the French edition of it.
Again, if you played in one of these events, let us know in the comments because, yeah, I never did myself because there were no Games Workshops around where I lived. In my part of the world, but yeah, it would have been quite cool to go down and I don't know whether you had to bring your own models or whether they'll supply it on the day or whatever, or everyone just brought their stuff and chucked it on the table and just went with it. But yeah, it seems like a fun kind of idea. Now, this is the Marco Chaos article, yeah?
Yeah. So that's the article that I kept reading, and I will tell you a funny story about this one because in my mind I couldn't understand. So the picture of the Dreadnought right now that is on the right page. So you can see like a front picture and the back picture of it. But as a kid, I didn't get that it was the same model because everything was so different from the front to the back, and I thought that the back the model was having this guy like crucified. That was the pilot of it. I was like, what's going on there? Is it the same model? Is it two different things? It's really like I remember like checking every details, and then I eventually figured out that it was the same model. But also because they were talking about conversion, which is something that I never heard about, and so it was about like, okay, so this guy bought those miniatures, but what did he do with it? And basically, he ripped off a lot of kits and kit bash everything, and to make something new. And I was like, just blowing my mind. Like as you can see, the Dreadnought, he has like this plasma gun that comes from, I guess it's from a Titan Imperator, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
There is some crazy things going on in there. It's so cool.
He's even got like the Palanquin Rider Champion of Nurgle. He's cut his head off and
Yes.
stuck it on the front of the sarcophagus or whatever it's called, part of the Dreadnought. So that's pretty expensive with what he's got there. Like he obviously works at Games Workshop. He's probably they've probably got like a big bits box in the back of the store there that they can just rummage through and grab models, or maybe he can go down to the factory and just pick out stuff he wants. But yeah, if you want to do that today, that Imperator Titan's worth hundreds of pounds now. If you wanted that model, if you want to do
also, if you want to,
it'd be crazy.
Like carving this metal Dreadnought in order to place this pilot in there also must have been a hard work. I mean, I have also like a metal Dreadnought, and I can tell you like it's heavy and not easy to work with. It's so well done. Because also the thing is, it's actually like it's a mismatch of a lot of things, but the paint job and everything is so consistent and coherent, I would say, that it's actually like a super cool looking army. Yeah, I remember also those Beastmen. They were so cool.
Beastmen are great. I really like what he's done with the Beastmen. Yeah.
I remember that you could get this plastic sprue with several like a hand-to-hand weapon and stuff, and it's actually a very good use of it, and it's totally fitting in there.
Yep. No, I really like that, and the other classic Dave Andrews Plague Marines that he's done there. He's got some conversions there with some heavy weapons and some head swaps and that kind of thing. So yeah, no, look cool.
You can see the use of this. What was it? This was it an exhaust of a kind of Imperial vehicle that is used as a gun barrel? You can see on the heavy weapon guy. I did the same back in the days. I was using this piece. I can't remember if it's an exhaust or something, but yeah, to make a big gun, that was perfect.
It's an unusual choice of red too on his Nurgle stuff. It's not something you'd commonly see with.
But contrasting nicely with the green, so it's a good idea. Yeah. And those hazard stripes are still like a. It's actually it's a mix of a lot of different things, yeah. But.
Not very cool. Okay, lots of good inspiration there for converting. Okay. Now, let's have a look here. So, if you're in the Belconnen grand opening, then you could have saved yourself 25% off or 10% off other products. And, these deals, and we've seen those a couple of times, but yeah, buy any 3 blister packs and get the cheapest one free. They had a lot of good deals in these grand openings.
Did you yourself cut off some of those vouchers from your White Dwarf to bring it to the shop?
I did actually, because when I first went to games, to England when I first arrived, I went to a grand opening. I bought the copy of Warhammer Quest, and I'm pretty sure it was a grand opening. I used one of the vouchers for it. Pretty sure I did. Yeah.
I did cut off my White Dwarf, but it was more to pick up some logo and stuff to glue it in my room, So I had like some on the miniature shelf I had like this Warhammer 40k cutout of the logo, because I was very proud of decorating the shelf with that. But now that I'm looking back, I'm very sad of having my White Dwarfs who are like just completely ripped off. So
yeah, I bet. Yeah, I worked in one of these. I did a. When I was working in the Luton store, we did I don't know if it was a grand opening, it was like a sale, and that was a pretty chaotic day. I was working on the register, and I remember that much. But then I got there late because my alarm didn't go off, so I got there like an hour or something late. So yeah, I was not in the good books with my manager that day. Okay, now looking at some Undead, Dawn of the Restless Dead by Jonathan Green. So maybe looks like some kind of lore with the Wood Elves and the Undead.
And it's actually a nice introduction from what's going to be coming up afterward.
Okay, let's look what's coming up. Okay, so it looks like there's a character that's riding a unicorn. So whether this was like a character out of the army book, I don't think so though, is it?
I can't remember the name of this guy actually, this archer. I can't remember him from the army book. So maybe, as you said,
Yeah, I don't think he's in the army books at all. I think this is like this. They've made these characters, and they've got some kind of like a scenario. They've written like a campaign scenario for them playing against undead. By the look of it, so here you go. Yeah, so these are definitely design studio created characters for the undead as well. So that's quite cool.
Freaking amazing illustrations also from John Blanche in this one.
Yeah.
I can't remember which interview it was, but it was like an interview of him telling that he wouldn't use the blue color in these illustrations and only like those reds and yellows, and you can clearly tell like those illustrations they were at this time. Yeah, also using only black, white, and then you have like red and yellows, but nothing else, and it's even more powerful.
Yeah, very cool. It really suits the undead actually. The red and yellow fiery kind of backgrounds and the blacks and whites. It really suits the undead a lot actually. I like it. Okay, so we've got some epic Space Marine, or let's be Titan Legions at this stage, for some different kinds of units. We've got the Blood Slaughters, Chaos Space Marines. I haven't heard of those, so that's an interesting one. The Catachan Devils. Oh, all right. Cool. Okay, hadn't heard of those either. So maybe this is for another kind of special scenario that they've written for Epic. I'm not really sure exactly, but looks like these are like cardboard inserts that you can take out by the looks of things. Yeah.
Now I because I couldn't see the link between this wood elf slash undead article, and then straight away you had those cutouts. But yeah, it's because they were having like an insert of cardboard, and I remember exactly those ammo crates and stuff that I was using for Necromunda also.
Okay, these are the Australian stockists as well. Okay, and then we've got Honor and Glory. Now it looks like it's a 40k. No, it's Epic. Sorry, Epic Battle Report. I'm sorry, it's an Epic Battle Report. So Epic's still going strong. I think they're really still trying to push Epic Titan Legions as far as they can, because unfortunately it wasn't very much a success sales-wise, sadly.
That's a shame, because it's actually very nice to portray those big battles. I like the small avatar here, the Eldar avatar that you have that is standing on the 25 round millimeter base.
Classic, awesome.
Yeah.
But this is interesting though, because I don't know if I've never seen this before, but it looks like they've got special Catachan rules. So they're introducing more of the second edition 40k troop types into Epic, which they sort of didn't really come until Epic 40k came out. They sort of went more of the second edition route. But yeah, it's cool that they've got these different rules for these guys. And look at the Blood Slaughterers in there, so that makes all sense now, because the cards came before the rules. So these are the rules for these guys here. So that's interesting, because I didn't even know about this, so I'd like to look at that at some point as well and check out what extra kinds of rules I had for that. And the Catachan Devils, and there's the other vehicle type rules for bringing your Imperial Guard tanks into the game. And looks like it's the Imperial, is it the Imperial Bastion, isn't it? Yeah. That's
also something I remember fondly. Like, I mean, this set is actually super nice. They were this time, like, you could buy some like a mix of cardboard and also those Necromunda bulkheads that you could clip on in order to create your scenery, and it was very, very, very nice. No, I never had a chance to have this specific set at the time, but I had like those Necromunda. It was more like catwalks and towers and platforms. But this is super like one piece of a building, and it's, if I'm not mistaken, you could play from inside also. So very cool.
Yeah, they're really cool. We saw a picture of a guy. He was employed at the studio making all this kind of stuff. He was like the cardboard man, or what it's called. But yeah, he was basically constructing and making all these out of foam core with the bulkheads and all that kind of thing to make up the layout. And then they would, go into in the production side of things, and then they would actually make, produce and do all the artwork for the.
Yeah, because the textures, they are hand painted. You can tell it's not something. I mean, at this time, I guess this digital Photoshop and would maybe exist, but it was not as easy. And you can tell that was handmade.
Yep.
Or hand painted at least.
All hand painted. Yeah. Now this is the modeling workshop article with Chris Maple with these amazing looking, and can't emphasize that enough, like how incredible these buildings he made are. Really, really impressive constructed terrain. So, and he goes through the whole process of making things and that kind of thing here.
I tried this at the time. I mean, I tried my best to have like a Warhammer houses looking this quality. Of course, it was not the same, but for a tutorial in the White Dwarf, this was kind of a good explanation of how to do it. So if you will follow it and the pictures and everything, you could achieve some results in there. And just with cardboard and balsa wood or like ice cream sticks or something, you could have a decent building. So it was very precious of an article, this one also.
Yeah, that's amazing. The amount of time, as you know, into making terrain is very extensive. So yeah, what he's done here is just incredible with the collection of buildings that he brought down to show at the studio. So yeah, very, very impressive. Yeah, that really looks like a proper, Imperial village or town.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, so I would love to see that behind the walls of a castle. So you have like the castle walls, on like a big 8x4 table or something like that. Have the castle walls, and then having it sort of sheltering the town,
the village
behind it, which will look amazing. But I like how he's got a lot of the buildings either with an outhouse or they're actually joined together. That's an interesting one as well.
No, it's very well done. I mean, you could also, like when you look at the silhouette of the houses and everything, so it's not a complete straight facade. You have this foundation that is made out of stone, and then you have like the first floor, and this overhang that is very classic from those medieval houses that creates this perfect kind of corridor vibe. And then if you put two of the houses close to each other, you have like something very enclosed, and you could totally tell some stories from this. It's very cool.
Yep, no, really, really nice, really impressive stuff, very inspiring. So very cool. I hope he still has those buildings because they're beautiful. Yeah. Okay, we've got some question and answers now for Necromunda and Warhammer 40k as well. So you've got a Q&A thing here. We won't go through that, but you can go through that if that's still relevant at all. But
I had a funny story about this if you want.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, go for it.
It's not about the Q&A section. It's more like back in the time when we were playing as kids and as teenagers, I guess. We would end up in a situation when we had a game where it was not so clear, but you could call a number. You could call those trolls who were like those VPC guys, but also those kind of rules masters, if you could say. And then you just had a number. You would say, okay, so how is it working in this specific case? Do I have this amount of attack or this amount of attacks? And the guy would just try his best to figure out the situation without having any visual information. That was a funny moment. I remember fondly.
Yeah, you need rules lawyers sometimes to break up the arguments and.
Yes, exactly.
And all that kind of thing. So yeah, very important. But yeah, it's really good that they did a lot of these Q&A sections in their issues. So it. Well, in some cases, it was frustrating because a lot of the questions were like, in the books anyway. Like it was so. I hate when they have when they had Q&As where the question was something so what's the word I'm looking for? But it was very, very evident that the rules were clearly listed in the book. It wasn't it was so trivial that we knew the answer, but why do they include it in there? I don't know why, but. For the burning questions that people really wanted to know, they were never really answered so much. But in some cases they were. But it's always frustrating when that happens.
Yeah,
Looks like they're calling all squad leaders. I don't know why, but
here we go.
something about we want you, come and join the Legion of Space Marines at your local Games Workshop, as they always went on about it. Now, this is Golden Demon 96 with an incredible diorama from Matt Parks.
Awesome.
Yeah, Slayer Sword winner there. Pretty amazing looking.
Like a lot of work also on this one.
Yep. Yep, really, really impressive.
I like the artillery battery, like on top of this enclosed wooden balcony. You would say you almost see that this thing is gonna be falling apart. Like it's too heavy, this thing anyway. So very orc in the style. It's very cool.
Yeah, you got the runt herder and all the Gretchen running around, and the snotlings up the top there.
It's very well presented also for the time.
Had like pretty cool water effects and everything in there as well, because the Catachan guys are like actually inside the water, and there's a big puddle of water at the bottom here. So yeah, really, really well done. So Matt Parks, of course, became a heavy metal painter later on, but this is just giving the outline of all the categories and what you can enter and that kind of thing for 1996. That's a wonderful previous winners there. Neil Thomason was one of the leading, a person who won a lot of Golden Demons during that time in the 90s.
Yeah, you can remember his name, and I remember fondly this as your man. It's very cool.
I love that banner on the Undead command group. That's amazing. It's like Krell. He's got the
it looks like Krell
on the banner. Yeah, awesome.
I had this Necromancer also on the horse. It's funny because this sculpt came like this Necromancer came on the horse, but you could also have him. Can't remember. I think he was on the Manticore also, like this specific torso.
Right. Was that the same guy?
I can't remember if he was, or was he on foot? But I remember that the torso has been reused for something else.
Right.
For sure, yeah. It was like he had like those legs in order to ride the horse, but he also this exact torso in this exact same pose has been reused for somebody else. Can't remember if it's the guy on the Manticore. I think so. But anyways, yes, it's worth checking. But I remember that.
Yeah, I think there was a guy on foot as well that looked very similar to that guy, but I could be wrong. There was quite a few different models that Gary did for the Undead range back in those times, but. Yeah, really impressive standard bearer. Really like that a lot. Be a hell of a thing to transport, but yeah, it looks very impressive. Yeah. But yeah, they've got the Necromunda gangs, really classic gangs. Got a favourite at all, mate, that you liked?
Oh yeah, I mean I had pretty much all of them, but apart from the Scavvies, I also had at the time or a bit later, I had some Goliaths, I had some Vansars, I also had some Kodor, I still have them. Never been a big fan of Orlocks so much. The Ashiers, one of my friends also had them, and the Diouf that is having this yellow crop top and this gun that is she's like holding the gun, and then she has like a sight. The one that you see on the left is just like such a fabulous model. It's an awesome amazing. Model, it's so fine in the details, and you can clearly tell that she's the youngest of them all. But she's ready to kick some asses, and it's super cool. Yeah.
She will do it in style, that's for sure. Yeah, very cool models. Yeah, they're my first gang and first and only gang, the Esches, and I think I gave my gang to one of the guys in the studio when I left. But I can't remember who I gave it to. Yeah, I think I gave a lot of my models away before I left to Australia. I don't know why. Pretty generous guy I was, wasn't I? But yeah, someone got my Escher gang, and I had all the models. I think all of them. Yeah, all the all the releases basically. Yeah, great.
You had like this heavy.
I had a lot of stuff.
Plasma gun. Yeah, that was super cool.
Yep, I had the heavy with the plasma gun. And I had Mad Donna as well.
Mad Donna Ilanti also.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, now Adrian Wood has this Discovering Warhammer article.
Some fancy 90s fashion in there, you can tell. Look at this.
Yeah, it's a classic 4th edition cover. Jeff Taylor's awesome we just talked about before we recorded, because we did the Battle for Morgthrin Pass in a live stream today. So you can see Grom on there, you can see Altharion, all the classic heroes for that scenario for 4th edition. But it looks like it's just an overview of Warhammer and what to expect in the game, and introducing the races and that kind of thing, just to give a bit of a primer to people who have never ever seen Warhammer before, to try to lure them in. That's a Chaos Army you'll be very familiar with there. David, you got a beautiful looking Chaos Army, mate.
This is my chaos style. The style I like the most is this bright greens and brighter reds, and this the green mohawks on the horses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do have a Force Ed style chaos army. I mean, I have 5 horsemen and some monopause plastic chaos warriors, as well as a lord on the horse, and they are painted this way. They are slightly more orange, mine, because I tried to highlight the red with yellow, so they are slightly orangish. These ones, they are more like pure red almost, I would say, but they are pretty reminiscent from this era that I really like.
Yeah, no, very impressive stuff. If you haven't seen David's Chaos Army, it's on your Instagram, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, you can check out 3D Foundry.
Yeah, 3D Foundry.
That's my yeah.
I'll leave a link in there in the notes, mate, so people can check it out.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that. Okay,
here we got the Savage Orc Ball Boys with spears and the Shaman, of course, as well. Yeah, pretty underwhelming, these models, I've got to say. I don't know why, but I'm not really taken with these Spearmen Ball Boys. I like the Shaman, but the other guys leave me a bit cold.
I like the balls though. This classic animal is also. I think it hasn't aged. I really like the style of it. When they I can't remember which Warhammer edition they got some new plastic boars, but they were much less interesting than those ones. I don't know if it's pure nostalgia, but I feel like those ones, they are still they are more realistic in a way. I don't know, like they are more robust and so short on the legs. I like them a lot.
And there's little pigtails on the back of them, so like
yes,
always the ones that be getting lost.
Yes,
you find lots of boars without tails. Not that made a massive difference anyway, but yeah. It looks cool like those models look like if they did charge you, you would get pretty hurt by them ramming into you, I think.
I like how you could be also a bit more. You could have a unit that was a bit more with more variation, because the how do you call this, the horns or the teeth of the boars, they were also interchangeable. So you could have the head different than the body, different than those teeth, and also the tail. So it's not so much, but you could have a variety of poses in your unit. So it was nice.
Big ears too, haven't they? Those boars, huge ears, like Spock.
Yeah, that's right.
So we've got another 40k box set spread here with all the different box sets available at the time. Some classic 40k stuff there. Goodness. Look at now, Scavvies.
Yeah, that's also big love.
Yeah, I really like these models, actually. I think if I was going to choose another Necromunda gang, I think I might go Scavvies, because for a painting project, they look pretty interesting. And they've got zombies in there.
Yeah, that's the thing I was about to say. It's like, compared to other gangs, you could tell that it had like a very different scales of figures in there, because the Scally was actually quite big. I mean, you can see that the base is almost too small for him. And by the way, this harpoon is so powerful in the game. So you could basically, like, if you would align your shot, you could you could kill several people that were on the row. So that was nice. But yeah, and this so you could tell like most of them were completely rotten, but in different stages of decay. You would say I really like the fact that they were not as uniformized than the other gangs. They were like more like, you had very different types of miniatures, and that was cool.
I like the muted tones of the paint work as well. I think maybe Mark Jones painted these. If if I'm remembering, if that's more his style. But yeah, I really like the way they were painted too, because they're very sort of muted tones and that kind of thing. I like all the dead flesh. They're not as bright and they're not as bright and garish as a lot of the other models. So
it is true that they are not as hero hammerish or like even like compared to 40k. I mean, you would paint the bases something else than Goblin green. You could have like a kind of a modern look to it. I don't know if it's the paint job or if it's the sculpt, but it's like very grim. And of course, the subject is grim because they are zombies and they are basically undead or like completely, have people with huge state of decay. But there is something about that that's so different. And a funny story about the small illustration that you see on the previous page, the one that was previously with those Scavvies getting out of this tunnel. If you go back to the previous page.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
Yeah. No, don't worry. So yeah, this one. So this piece of artwork for me as a kid also that was very inspiring, and I remember fondly that I tried to replicate this kind of end of a tunnel or like an access to something, and
right.
with this kind of goo or this kind of like a sewer
The green
greenish.
slime.
Yeah. I remember that the slime I was doing it with candle wax, so I was burning some
right.
candle wax, and then that was my technique. And if you try to paint over a candle wax, it doesn't work so well. It doesn't stick so well. But very very inspired by this image. Yeah.
That's cool, mate. That's nice. That's a nice bit of history there. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I was right. It is Mark. Mark Jones did the.
Here we go.
He painted them. Yeah. So I thought it was more or less Mark's style. But here we go. There's a scaly spear gun for you.
I like that diagram. Yeah. So basically, yes. I mean, in real life, it was quite tricky to achieve because as soon as you knew that your opponent will play with this weapon, then you will not align your guys like this. But yeah,
he's going to get you once, and that will be probably the last time you'd get away
exactly
with doing that, unless you did something really wrong. But really cool. Now these are the pit slaves. I don't have any experience with these guys, so
I do.
Oh yeah.
I really also these guys I really like them, and the fact that they were also so you would be able to hire them later in later in time. You could play a gang of pit slaves by itself, but so far it was just about like hiring them as one-offs, and they were actually I think it's just three different poses, but you could change the weapon, so you had like a small you could change basically those industrial tools that they had. So one of them had this shears, like this big claw, and you could cut head. So you could basically, on a nice roll that you could get, you could just like clip off the head of your opponent, and they would not, of course, survive any kind of after battle injury rolls because they were having just their head off. So some of the stuff,
quite nasty. I didn't realize you could have a gang of these guys. That's pretty cool. So
later in the
right.
Yeah, in White Dwarf they released afterwards like a gang list for it, and some new miniatures also. One of them was had like a plasma gun also, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Okay. Cool. So we've got a nice spread of 4th edition. Now 4th edition was the current edition of Warhammer at this stage. So the classic box set. Now also got coming here. Now we've got Master Classic with Mike McVeigh.
Oh, and here we can see the
that's it.
the diorama I was talking about, the Warhammer Quest one. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about before. So when we had this Undead against Wood Elves, I mean, it would have made sense to have this afterwards after this article, because this diorama is just amazing.
Yeah, you might be able to still see this at Warhammer World. I think maybe a lot of Mike's dioramas are there. So
this is something that was also like younger, like mind-blowing, and also the fact that it's a shame that you don't see the complete diorama on the 2 pages, but it's actually super well done, and the composition is amazing. And you can see that Heinrich Kemmler had his hat taken off.
Yeah, noticed
Yeah,
that.
and his staff was also shaved off to just a small skull, which is funny, but really like that. Also, this leader who was like impaling this poor skeleton, very cool.
Yep, really impressive. So, I've seen someone else do something like this, but like, and I'm thinking about like the real old style cutaway dioramas in the 80s. They did those as well. Well, it was quite flat, but they had like, for example, for doing like a dungeon kind of dungeon crawler type scene where they'd have different layers, going through like a maze through the. It's not really the best description. I'm very tired, but
No, but I get what you're saying.
Different levels, but yeah, like the Warhammer Quest one, but it was a lot more flat. Like there was only maybe an inch or two in depth, and basically,
I know exactly what you mean.
They painted the background, and then all the models were in different arrangements. Fighting their way through sections
and playing with the scale and the perspective also in order to make it appear less flat. Yeah, and I think in the Warhammer Quest, actually, even though it was a bit more in volume, the previous diorama that we've seen, I think that I've read an article that Mike McVeigh was also using these kind of tricks in order to create perspective where it was not so much depth. So you would have, like, for example, on this one, not so much, but on the Warhammer Quest one, you could maybe the tiles of the dungeon were not actually squares, but they were more like trapezoidal shapes in order to create even more depth to it. So it's actually a nice technique to achieve to have more depth on the diorama. But this one was looking quite large actually. I would really love to see it in real life.
Yeah, so if anybody knows if it will have a world you can see this particular diorama, because I know some of them have survived. So I'm pretty sure this would be there, mate. So if you go there, and I'm sure someone can comment about it and say it's there for sure. But yeah, really impressive one. He made his own trees and everything, of course, and painted the background, which looks amazing.
That's something I have to do also for my when I'm taking the miniatures, my miniatures into picture, like my hero hammer.
Oh yeah.
I want a background also, because so far it's just a blue, like a perfect blue sky. But I think it has a lot of charm also, those backgrounds. And I know that you have done one yourself.
Yeah, I need to do another one too. Actually, I'm gonna try to do one on my holidays. If I can. So I've got a nice greenish kind of, meadow field type hill tree kind of thing. Lots of yellowy greens and that kind of stuff. So nice and warm, rich colors. I've got one that's like really dark and, looks quite brooding in the background. It's good for like 40k and epic, but it's not really good for fantasy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, fun to do, mate. I'd highly recommend it.
I would try it out for sure.
Yeah, for sure, mate. It's a good idea. Okay, the heist for Necromunda. So Gav Thorpe and James Ball, they are doing some kind of this is where these crate counters come in.
Exactly, you could use them for this specific scenario here.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so it's got some tables and charts you can roll, and that kind of stuff looks pretty fun. And rat skin renegades, these look cool too. I like rat skins.
They were also like in the Outlander gangs that were released. Yeah, those ones, they were also one of the coolest. Especially this shaman here. It's just beautiful miniatures.
So did they? So I can't remember, but
so
was there psychic rules in there? Psychic rules in Necromunda?
Yeah, you had some psychic power, because actually one of the character you could use for the Scavvies. The name was Carlot Valois. He was this kind of guy who was looking more like a vampire, even though he was living in the underworld, in the underhive. You had some psychics. He had some psychics power, and you also have some weirds. They were called weirds. That they were like, they could be telepath, or they could be kinetics or some things like this. So you had like some kind of
telekinetics. Yeah, okay, I know what you mean. Telekinesis.
Psychic.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sort of making words up here now. So But yeah, I
It's
know what yeah.
So, and about the rat skin, so also something interesting is that they came out in the main game as people to hire in your gang. So you could have one, and they could be also very useful in order to, because they knew the underhive and they could find some tunnels, and that was their lore basically. They were also kind of scouts and stuff like that. But then you could also play them as a gang, like with the Outlander rules. So you could have a full gang of ratskins. But at the beginning, there were only like few of them.
Right. Okay. I've never played the Outlander expansion. That's probably why, because when we
Yeah.
played it, there were no psychers at all. So that's why. Okay, gotcha. So
But
yeah, it's kind of like an undiscovered, unknown thing. I should really give Necromunda another go actually at some point.
I think Necromunda is actually one of the best game of this era, in the sense that it was small scale but playing on the 3D of the table. So
Right.
it was very, very cool. And now looking back at those pictures, I just want to paint some Necromunda, and I have a project. I'm going to show it later on my accounts, on my social medias. But I have like so back in the days when they released the box, they released some plastic miniatures that were monopose, but you could change the arm in order to change the weapon. But with a bit of conversion, you could do like, in my opinion, some nice looking gangs. So I have a Goliath gang almost done, that is based on those plastic monopose figures. And looking back at it, I just want to finish them and put them out, because I just want to play Necromunda right now. It's just so cool.
Cool. And when I talk about giving my Escher gang away, it was for Warwick.
No way.
Yeah, it was Warwick. I gave it to him. I can't remember
Here
his
we go.
last name, but I think it's Kendrickson or something
Kincaid
like that.
or something like this, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget. But he's talking about his Escher gang here, the Black Orchids that he used.
Oh, so that's them.
I don't think so, because
No,
I
that's
joined the studio after this report came out. So
that's a cool. That's a funny discovery here. Yeah.
yeah, I actually contacted him not so long ago, because I know he works for what's it called again? The guys who do Flames of War and all that. He works for them now.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name anyway. It's a New Zealand company anyway. But yeah, and I asked him if he wanted to do an interview, but he wasn't interested in it, unfortunately. So
Isn't it Battlestorm, the Battlefront, or?
that's it, Battlefront. He works for
Yeah.
Battlefront, doing a lot of their expansions and all that kind of stuff. He's working on the rules and that kind of thing. But I think he worked for Forge World for a long time as
All right.
well, doing a lot of rules stuff for that. So yeah, he's a good guy. Warwick. Okay, now what do we got next? Oh, more. Okay.
You have like a
battle
complete
report.
battle report.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And oh, there we go. They're the Black Orchids here that he was using.
They are. When I'm seeing it right now, it's quite funny also, those Goblin green bases, but it was in order to unify all the miniatures, like especially 40k Necromunda, still having it on the green bases. But I kind of like it, but it's a bit silly to have like this industrial, super nicely detailed terrain, and then those people standing out with their green bases. But I'm gonna still paint mine with the Goblin green
Me too.
bases.
I think
sure.
yeah, and I think Andy Chambers, said that sort of frustratingly, like, why did they paint them Goblin green bases when they're clearly in the underhive? Like, it just seems so strange. But yeah, I think just to keep it all conformative or whatever you want to say. Sorry.
Yeah.
With everything else, yeah, I think Goblin green bases seem the way to go. But yeah, there is some kind of, I don't know. To do it another way would just seem strange now, I think.
I agree.
So, yeah. But anyhow, this is the battle report. We're going to sort of skim through this, guys. Sorry. You can go and read it at your heart's content. And
you can just witness some great modeling techniques in there in order to create all these buildings. It's actually looking like the buildings that you have in cardboard in the box, but with more depth. So
here we go. There's a classic Mark Gibbons.
Wow, this illustration also drove me crazy.
Illustration, yeah. How cool is that?
Awesome.
That is brilliant.
Awesome. And this tube who is like severely injured but not left out by the boss. I guess it's a boss. She's a boss.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
It's freaking cool.
Yeah.
And this heavy behind is just like firing crazy. Is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's all. I've actually forgotten this piece. That's such a cool. Maybe this was in the Outlanders book. Maybe that's why I haven't seen it. But yeah, that's an awesome piece of artwork. That.
Yeah.
Looks like Warwick lost. He doesn't look too happy. So, so the Esches will have to try again. Maybe he won. Oh, another Escher bit of artwork. Cool.
Also, this one I really like it. This poor the lag here got stabbed.
That's it.
Yeah, very cool.
He got what came to him. What was coming to him anyway. Yeah. So mail order, White Dwarf subscriptions, blah blah blah. We've sort of been through those a few times. So there's nothing really much to cover here. You got the Australian prices for a lot of stuff here. Only $109, $110 basically for the Warhammer box game. Not bad. Battle Magic though was like $62. So wow, okay, that's surprising. Arcane Magic $47.95. But yeah, let's go through these pages here because it's all very much stuff we know all about. Nothing all that new. Here, of course, of the catalog.
But here you can see you can see the Stormtrooper.
Yeah, there it is.
I never realized that. Yes.
How bizarre. So yeah, I'd like to know more about that because there must have been a reason why they made this one particular model a plastic kit, because either you could field an entire army of them, or like you could do with all the other guys, like you could have an entire Katachan army, or you could have an entire Valhallan army, or whatever it might be. So maybe you could have an entire army of these guys then. So yeah, because it can be also really dig the field artillery and all that kind of stuff. So maybe you could.
Yeah, I was about to say actually do this artillery pieces like this guns with this that you can deploy with the wheels, and they are very, very cool.
Yeah,
they are having like a nice presence on the battlefield, and a nice chunk of metal also.
Yeah, that's for sure. And there's power packs. Wow, pretty hefty bit of extra luggage on those guys. But here's the Escher gang, the classic Escher gang. Yeah, thanks to Tom, I've got the Escher leader with bolt gun and las pistol now, so I'm really happy with that. I've got it on a base and everything. I just haven't got around to painting it yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
We should do a Necromunda game.
Yeah,
if you want one day.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you've got all the gangs and all that kind of thing, we can do that remotely.
I also have the scenery and everything, and it would be so nice to play again. Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I mean, this is the game of my. This is my like the start of everything for me. Necromunda is just like my perfect game.
Yeah,
and the Eschers.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it the only gang that has been sculpted by Jess Godwin actually?
Yeah.
Those Eschers. Yeah.
Yep.
And they are and here again you can tell like the extra level of finesse that you have on those miniatures. Of course, the other gangs are also fabulous, but this one especially, there is something special about the skulls. It's very fine, very, very crisp.
There's some more there.
Oh yeah. Here we go. The heavy. She's the one like wielding this plasma gun. Wow, super cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, mate. Yeah, and give us a run through of the Outlanders set, because I don't know anything about that. So I presume it's got like a campaign system in it.
Yeah. So you have several. So first of all, your gang that is actually from the main set can become an Outlander. So you are basically becoming an outlaw, and you are having you're basically chased away from the legality, and you are having some specific territories and things like this. So it means that you are maybe having less resources, but in another hand you can access to some different trading post where you can buy very specific equipments that are not legal in the lore of the game, so you can end up with some very cool equipments. And Outlanders was also proposing to play Raskins as a gang. Also, you had the Scavvies, you had the Redemptionists also, so those guys who were like Cawdors, but more extreme. So yeah, with like they were all dressed up as with long robes and flames everywhere, and they were just crazy insane. One of them had like a giant chainsaw that you could a chainsaw, but on top of it he had a small flamer also. So
That's right.
funny.
I remember seeing those guys and not so long ago, and I really like them actually. I think they're pretty cool.
You also had the spires.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you remember, it's basically those ultra rich kids who were sent, so they were living on top of the spire of the underhive, but then they were sent in this grim setting in order to just like kill people and have the maximum score and then come back home, and then just it was just a game for them, and they were extremely powerful. So you could, where a normal gang could be maybe between 8 or 10 miniatures, those guys, they were maybe just 5, but they were extremely potent. And you had like 4 different types, if I'm not mistaken. I have them in the display cabinet, so that's why I'm looking.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, take some pics, because maybe it's time for Necromunda love in your on your Instagram.
I think it is. I mean, looking back at it, I think it is. So yeah.
Looking at these underhive scum, there's some really cool models in here as well. I quite like this large stomach guy here, the rotund guy with this plasma pistol. He looks pretty cool. And this Catachan,
some of them are
with a flamer.
They have like this kind of Western movie vibe also. That's what I liked with Necromunda also. It has really like this kind of a style to it.
And the rat skins, I really like these rat skins. I mean, they're just really cool. Very tempted to potentially one day do a rat skin and a Scavvy gang, because they look really cool too. I really like those models. That's actually done by Colin Dixon. I didn't know that. Well, there you go. Didn't know that. Pit slaves, there you go. All their armaments, all the different variations. Your Savage Orc boys, and some transfers here for your wood elves, your shields and that kind of thing. They're some classic Gary Morley models here actually. I really like that the Wood Elf General. He's a really nice model, and the mage is nice too.
I like the High Health General that you have painted also. I think it was also from Gary Morley, this sculpt. I like how, I don't know if you paused him, if you twisted a tiny bit the torso or something, but it has like a nice, it's not so static. It has a nice posing.
It looks like he's just about to, smack somebody with his sword, basically. So he's sort of leaning forward in his saddle. So I quite like that. Yeah. So I like that model too. The one that Gary did for that was really cool. There you are. They're the 1,000 pieces for your dragon that you're going to lose. But
at the time, when we were younger, I'm not sure we would pin and drill some holes and place some metal wire in there. I don't know how we did, but it was standing, but the model, but it was like very brittle. Because look at all the species, it's insane.
Yeah, so hopefully, I think maybe they used more of a stronger, not stronger, but you know what I mean, like not as soft, a harder lead, I think, at this stage, because all the old dragons, all the old wyverns, and that kind of thing will just droop over, and like mine does.
And this one had plastic wings at least, but some of the dragons had smaller wings and they were actually metal. I had a dark elf, a dragon that had no. This one was still in plastic actually. The wings. Can't remember, but I had some smaller metal wings also.
Yep. So they're the Wood Elves there by Ali Morrison, and that's it. We come back to the last couple of pages here. So the Wood Elves book is just about, or is being released at this stage, and we've got a nice 40k back cover here with the Eldar and some Imperial Guard with some Ogrins there as well. Cool. And there we have it.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I could remember most of it, and actually, it's funny how this White Dwarf just like set up the scene for me for the rest of basically my hobby journey, you would say. And some of the things I still love nowadays, it's deeply rooted in this book for sure.
Yeah, mate. I mean, this is 100 pages of wonderful content in here.
Yeah.
So very, very impressive. Yes, thank you very much for bringing this to my attention again, because, yeah, I think I did have this magazine. Well, I think it was in the UK. I think it was almost in the UK when this came out. So maybe I picked it up or something like that. I'm not sure now. But, yeah, it's got some really wonderful stuff in there. So thanks again, David, for joining me to bring us your first White Dwarf issue.
But thanks to you. Thanks for having me, Josh. And just I wanted to say, just keep up the good work, because what you're doing is very, very, very cool. And also all the community who is so passionate about this. It's so nice to witness. So keep it up, and you're doing great. Seriously.
Thank you, mate. You too, mate. You keep up your good work there, because you're doing some really amazing stuff.
Thank you.
You did a 5th edition intro game video that you've put up on your YouTube. I'm gonna put a link in that for people to go and watch it, because I think people should go and see it, because it's really, really well done. Using all your beautiful models and your beautiful girlfriend.
Yes, she was trying to. She was sweet enough to try to play Warhammer with me, and it was actually she kind of liked it. I mean, she doesn't ask to play again, but at the moment, she liked it. So.
Well, you did give her the chaos with the corn champions and everything. So you gave her all the good stuff.
I set up the scene a bit in order for her to not be bored and to just slaughter my skeletons. But but seriously, she was nice enough to try with me. So potentially we can do more. I just talked to her for another project I'm thinking about, and she was keen on doing it. So let's see. But you're gonna definitely know what's gonna come up.
Yeah, mate, but I'll certainly take up on that offer of a game of Necromunda, because it has literally been since 1994 since I last played it. So I would love to experience that again. That'd be awesome.
Cool.
Okay, mate. Will you take care of yourself and keep in touch?
Thank you.
And
thank you very much, Josh.
No problem, mate. We'll speak again soon.
Yeah, deal. See you.
Okay, see you.